Dear colleagues, hello everybody. In this presentation, I will introduce you to Kurul Kalesi, one of the fortresses established by the King Mithradates invasion in Anatolian Pontos. Firstly, I'd like on the Kurul cliffs. Before the Mithridatic Wars, Rome had become an increasingly powerful force in the eastern Mediterranean and Anatolia. However, Rome's expansionist policies caused discontent among local kingdoms and leaders. Mithradates IV capitalized on this discontent to launch a major resistance movement against Rome. Mithradates' efforts to form alliances against Rome and his military actions ultimately led to the Mithridatic Wars. Here you can see the location of Kurul Kalesi and the areas of control between Roman and Pontic forces just before the Mithridatic Wars. Kurul Fortress is situated on the summit of Kurul Cliffs, approximately 9 kilometers south of the city center of Ordu in the eastern Black Sea region at an elevation of 572 meters above sea level. The ancient Melantius River, flowing just east of Kurul and reaching the sea, forms a natural route connecting the Black Sea to the inner Anatolia by traversing the ancient Paryadres Mountains. The archaeological findings uncovered during the excavation since 1910 suggests that this mountaintop settlement could be one of the 75 fortresses founded by Mithradates against the Romans, as mentioned in Strabo's Geographica. It is assumed that Kurul cliffs were first used for cultic purposes, starting from the early 2nd century BC. The early coins, amphorae, and some ceramic samples found around the cultic areas in the citadel support this view. However, the discovery of hundreds of Mithridates bronze coins indicates that Kurul was organized by this king as a Phrourion, both with religious, administrative, and military functions. In geographical classification, the Melet River, namely ancient Melantius, is essentially recognized as a boundary separating the central and eastern Black Sea regions. It should be noted that this geographical marker may have also been considered in ancient times. Indeed, the region where Kurul Fortress is located appears to resemble a boundary in historical geography discussions, perhaps akin to the boundary between the Caliphs and Tibareni. As you have seen the maps, the location of Kurul is in between Caliphs and Tibareni tribes. Although its ancient name remains undiscovered yet, it is understood that Kurul Fortress is situated within the hinterland of the ancient city of Kotyora, which lost its significance during the reign of Pharnakes I. You see the area of Pharnakia on the east of Kurul Kalesi. The settlement extending along the rocky ridge for approximately 250 meters and narrowing to 25 to 30 meters in width, at some points consists of two parts, a citadel and a northern terrace. The rock altar at the summit, a possible rock-cut granary or cultic repository, and the rock-cut step tunnel were the only known archaeological features prior to the excavations. During these excavations, it was revealed that the settlement was surrounded by an architectural construction consisting of rooms built in contiguous arrangement. The uninterrupted outer walls of these structures were constructed using a thicker and more robust wall technique compared to the interior walls. It is sufficiently evident that this local and lesser-known architectural style stemmed from a certain defense necessity. This situation is supported by archaeological evidence showing tower structures built at irregular intervals and weapons used in defense, as well as evidence of warfare ruins. At the point where the corridor from the north terrace reached the inner fortress, there is a gate. This corridor, with occasional rock-cut steps and stone stairs, serves as a path leading up to the inner fortress. The gate and other cultic structures here indicate that the citadel possesses a different characteristic. You have seen the citadel part of the Kurul Kalesi with altars and stepped tunnels, and the summit rock-cut altar here. The distinct character in this citadel is likely associated with cult activities, particularly related to the rock altar and the stepped tunnel found here. The rock altar at the highest point of the Kurul rocks is accessed from the east by a series of rock-cut steps. You see the steps here, the rock-cut steps, and the last part of the steps was broken and pushed outside, maybe related to the last destruction and sealing of the ritual practices in Kurul Kalesi by the Romans. On the steep western face of this rocky mass at the summit, there are small niches carved into the rock as little offering niches. It was determined that the channels carved into the southern slope of the rocky mass, reaching a probable pedestal at a lower level. This construction you see here, the channels here, arrive to the pedestal, a probable monument of a god, maybe Cybele. When considering these revealed constructions together, it is conceivable that this rock mass could have served as a rock altar, presumably dedicated to the mother goddess. This representative drawing depicting of a ritual practice would assist in understanding the ritual here. You see the illustration on the right hand. The question of whether the rock-cut room, a square with the dimensions of 8 meters on the northern side of the rock massive, here you see, is a granary or a repository for cult offerings, has not yet been understood. Due to the occasionally preserved stone foundation remnants and enclosing wall beds, it should have been a covered room. The absence of any rock channels connected to the room indicates that it cannot be a water cistern because it is at the summit of this cliff, so only rainwater can get it full, but it is covered, so it must be used as a depot. As you have seen, this illustration here, A fire altar in this area and the golden red wreath leaves found within it are important in demonstrating the presence of a fire cult in this sacred area. This fire altar should be associated with the practice of a fire cult within the context of Mithradates' Persian origins. As you have seen, the inner citadel mainly served as a cultic area. As for the tunnels, the step tunnels, one of the rock-cut step tunnels, numbering over 40 in the Pontus region, is also found in Kurul Fortress. Debates continue regarding the origin and the function of these stepped tunnels, believed to date back to the Hellenistic kingdom of Pontus era. These stepped tunnels may have a religious function related to a sacred warrior, the underground, and likely also to Mithraic beliefs. The findings related to these different beliefs encountered provide significance in understanding the distinctive character of this citadel. The main gate of the Kurul, or a propylon, named as Cybele Gate, due to the in-situ marble Cybele statue uncovered in her naiskos, is located at the beginning of the slope, connecting the northern terrace to the citadel. You see here the position. It is understood that intense attacks likely carried out with ballista bolts and bolt heads resulted in severe damage to the gate and the Cybele naiskos. The presence of numerous ballista bolts and bolt heads found within the heavy burned layer confirm that the gate was destroyed with incendiary weapons. It is understood that the bronze coin left in the lap of Cybele is the final offering you see on the lap of Cybele statue. Before the statue of Cybele was placed inside the naiskos, astragale, arrowheads, and bronze coins and other small finds were placed as offerings under the pedestal of the statue you see here. After removing the pedestal, statue and the pedestal of the statue, we discovered all these offering materials. It has been understood that the marble Cybele statue, uncovered in heavily damaged condition, differs from the terracotta figurines found in the gate tower, as she is depicted holding a scepter in her hand. You see the gate tower here, and terracotta Cybele figurines were found here. And just in the vestibule of the propylon and the naiskos, different pose of Cybele were found. At the beginning, we didn't understand the position, standing position, and the absence of other artifacts, that characteristic artifacts like patera and drums. We thought that it should disturbed by the during the invasion, but later, after we tried to put the arms in the holes, we have seen that Cybele is in different pose, as holding a scepter in her left hand. So it's it's a very several situation in Cybele marble statues. A heap of small and middle-sized stones has been uncovered near the gate of Cybele. After the stone heap was removed, it was understood that there was an ancient rock altar there. You see here is the Cybele vestibule, and the heap of stones is here. Among the various small finds, such as bronze needles, rings, fragments of carved reed leaves, etc., also a Cappadocian coin was discovered in the heap of stones. This coin, with a first minting year of 74 BC, forms a terminus antiquum for this construction. The sealing and abandonment of the ancient altar, along with this coin, provide crucial data regarding Lucullus's attacks in the region and the subsequent construction process. The room adjacent to the south of the Cybele gate appears to have been used as a sacrificial chamber, given its different architectural arrangement at the artifacts found within. The regular stone paved floor and the channel pit opening into the floor indicate that this room is different from the others. You see here the Cybele and naiskos, and at the back of the naiskos, this sacrificial adjacent naiskos, you see the sacrificial area, and the whole, maybe the bullocks of the sacrificial animals go down there. We also found, in addition to its architectural differences, the presence of a bowl-riton, an iron coppice, an iron axe, and some animal bones found here also suggests that this room could have been a sacrificial chamber associated with the Cybele and Naiskos. You see the copies found in Kurul Kalesi and a representative red figure demonstrating the copies used in sacrificing of an animal. Mithradates Dionysus. His Dionysus epithet could suggest a connection or association between Mithradates VI and Dionysus. Dionysus was a deity associated with wine, fertility, religious ecstasy, and liberation in mythology. An altar dedicated to Dionysus, as accessed by steps, has been uncovered directly opposite the gate of Cybele. You see Cybele naiskos, old sealed Celtic area, and the Dionysus altar with steps. Terracotta offerings depicting Dionysus and his retinue have been found in situ on the altar. Here you see. A child statue, this horned child statue with bull horns, ivy leaves, and buds, prove that he is an infant Dionysus, found in the niche of Dionysus altar here. In situ position of offerings on the Dionysus altar, you see on the right hand, on the left hand. A bronze kiatos found in the adjacent room of the Dionysus altar might have been used to distribute wine during Dionysiac rituals. This bronze kiatos belonged to one kiatos found here in this part of the Celtic area. So we can relate it we can connect it with the Dionysiac rituals. A Dionysus chapel in administrative buildings, another building complex is just north of the northern terrace building complex. You see, we have found many terracotta protom pieces belonging to Dionysus and his Thiassos have been found scattered outside of this room. You see the chamber, separated by a thin wall, and Dionysus protons and Thyasos protons were found outside of this room. There are maybe hundreds of protons were found. Many of them can be restored. Apart from these protons, we have whole Dionysus protons, Dionysus tauromorphos, and Dionysus botrytis, and these shows that Kurul Kalesi has a strong Dionysiac cult center. And you see here some potteries, many of them exported from somewhere, as in Eastern Mediterranean cities. And you see the keys, iron keys. Almost every gate or door spaces, we found iron keys in the debris near to the door spaces. So it shows that Kurul Kalesi, the buildings at the Kurul Kalesi were in use during the peace periods or in war periods. Here you see the in-situ view of the room destroyed by the fire within the inner citadel on the south part of the Kurul Kalesi. The heavy destruction of fire. The coin and the pilum found on the northern terrace indicate that the destruction here was carried out by the Romans. Because of the coins and the pilum as a Roman weapons, and the destruction here shows that Romans attacked Kurul Kalesi once. Yeah, the cellar on the ground floor and ballista walls and heavy burnt layer bear witness to Kurul Castle, Kurul Fortification being burned and destroyed by the Romans. The limestone walls indicate that this destruction occurred as a result of a serious mutual battle. We must think of that hundreds of these limestone balls must have been thrown by the Romans from the outside to the walls of the Kurul Kalesi. From the Kurul Kalesi, you don't need to use this kind of weapons. Maybe you can use a big balls for the Roman enemies, but these are thrown by ballista from outside. The archaeological findings unearthed at the Kurul Castle predominantly bear the traces of the Third Mithratic War and its subsequent destruction. Lucius, with leading the Roman forces against Mithradates, launched a successful invasion into Pontus. Amisos was a crucial stronghold for Mithradates, serving as both a military and economic hub. Lucullus and a combination of the city in 71 to 70 BC. Following the capture, Lucullus continued his campaign against Mithradates, pursuing him into the Armenia, where he sought refuge with King Tigranes the Greek. The initial burning and destruction of Kurul Kalesi by the Romans appear to be related to Lucullus's ongoing invasions in the region. It is understood that some of the cult areas in Kurul Castle were also destroyed and rendered unusable by these attacks carried out by Lucullus. A pilum, a Roman weapon, a fas moralis, also a Roman weapon, and the Dionysus potteries, proton, were found in the tower of Cybele Gate. Together with Cybele terracottas, these findings are also revealed from the gate tower in this area. These are also the proofs of the Roman attacks to Kurul Kalesi. And here you see arrowheads and bolt heads, thousands of arrowheads we discovered. And in a cultic area, in a sacred, fortified sacred area, don't include so many aims. We have also found stone stairs, you see here. Many of ballista walls in and around the walls, you see. Terracotta sling bullets were found around the towers. Sling bullets, terracotta here, and the ballista walls here, around this tower. It shows that Roman attacks concentrated on the towers. Many of ballista balls were found mainly around the Cybele Gate and towers, as I said you before. So from the outside of Kurul Kalesi, with this kind of ballista, these balls must have been thrown to Kurul Kalesi. Hundreds of terracotta and lead sling bullets, Wishling sling bullets here you see. It is understood that the lead sling bullets were produced in Kurul. You see the original bullets in production, not used yet. So many examples. Some sling bullets, some lead sling bullets have some parts on it, and some impressions on it. Many of these kinds of weapons may be local, may be used against the Roman troops. And here, the bolt heads, you see the weight of them, and very big ones, not possible to take to throw them with an arrow bow only, but with catapulta or scorpio you can throw it to destruct and maybe sometime to burn the buildings. I'd like to draw your attention to this area here in front of the tower within the administrative building complex. The iron components of a catapult that seems to have fallen in front of the tower stairs are important in demonstrating that Kurul was not just a sacred area. Along with other weapon findings, this catapult components demonstrates the seriousness of the defense mounted against the Romans in Kurul Kalesi. Some thinks that Kurul Kalesi was not a castle, or was not a fortified, or it was not a Phrourion, but all of these artifacts, weapons, and situations shows that Kurul Kalesi is a real castle against the Roman invasion. In the local defense architecture of Kurul Kalesi, which consists of adjoining rooms with thicker outer walls surrounding the settlement instead of curtain walls, dwelling towers were constructed in the form of inner towers at strategic points where deemed necessary. The inner tower-shaped dwelling towers uncovered at Veli Fortress in Dacia are depicted in the representative image on the left bottom. You see here the inner tower were also used as dwelling houses in the same time. In Kurul Kalesi, you see on the top left, there are three towers. Here one, here another one, and here another one. This administrative building, the function of it not certainly determined yet, but we call it an administrative building, and also storage constitute of 60 big pitois. Shows that this building construction complex is an important and maybe in a way an administrative building complex in the Kurul. In this slide, you can see an example of the dwelling tower within the defense system of Kurul Kalesi. You see our rooms, adjacent rooms or building, and in the center there is a tower with stone staircases, and the plan here, and our illustration made by our friend Dr. Umut Soroğlu. We think that the upper part of the defensive system or living areas should be in this way or in a similar way. The towers were higher than the observing path of the top of the houses. They were all the towers and the rooms were living places also. During the wartime, they were used for defense aims. You are viewing a representative cross-section of the structure, where the upper parts are believed to have been used as the observation path or observation area of the cap of the fortification. Our illustration here and some other examples from wooden constructions. After being destroyed by Lucullus around 72 BCE, evidence of subsequent reconstruction has been found at Kurul Kalesi. You see here some walls not suitable for the general architectural plan of the building, added later. After Lucullus was relieved of his command, it led to the Mithradates gaining strength and a weakening of Roman control over Pontus. He continued to resist Roman influence and expanded his power in Asia Minor and Pontus. This ultimately led to the renewed conflict between Mithradates and Romans, culminating in the Third Mithradatic War during which Mithradates inflicted significant defeats on Roman forces and posed a serious threat to Roman territories in the region. It's observed that some palliative renovations took place at Kurul Castle between the period of Pompey taking command of the Roman army after Lucullus and beginning to achieve victories against Mithridates. The closure of the door, seen here, with a fake partition wall, the renovation of the Cybele gate, and perhaps the placement of the marble Cybele statue in the gate vestibule may have occurred during this period. I mean, all the last archaeological artifacts and remains show the last phase of Kurul fortification, especially during the Third Mithradatic Wars and the last phase, which ended with Pompey's last destructions. Thank you for your interest at present. I think I could get it, know you about Kurul Kalesi. If you have questions, it will be a pleasure to me to answer your questions.